Okay, and we are live. Hi, Sovik. Good
Hi,
afternoon.
Alicia. This is indeed. It's
It's,
raining our side. So,
hi.
yeah,
It's sunny here in Dublin. It's been a long time since our last live together, so
that's
I'm
true. That's true.
I'm very happy to have you here today.
But also, lives with Kurt are really interesting. So,
Yes,
that's good to have a diversity of the topics.
yes, absolutely. Yes, thank you so much.
Yeah,
So today we are going to talk about drone-based 3D models for construction projects. So you and I are doing a webinar in a couple of weeks from now. I think it's the
yes,
2nd of March, and we wanna talk about the project that we will be presenting in that presentation. Um,
exactly.
so why don't we start with the data set? So how was this data set? I believe it's a drone
Yeah,
project. Yeah.
exactly. Um, all right. So, the whole project, let's say, whole webinar series will be focused about, delivering from end-to-end solutions with the use of our software.
Yeah.
And we are playing the first part of this project,
Yeah.
as normally, as usually surveyors do. So we are always the first on the site, and in fact, we are always the last on the site. Just before, of course, the site is just taken off and the first inspection is made to
Okay.
close the construction. So in this case, we're gonna work on a project on our campus in the United States, in Pennsylvania. As far as I checked,
Yeah.
it's
And so
it's
it's our colleague Mike that gathered this data set with a drone platform. Correct.
exactly
Yeah.
exactly. So this is a really great job done here in case of quality and accuracy. So so we have a data set consisting of 874 photos.
Okay.
Mm, Taken with the Sony camera,
Mm-hmm.
which of course you have to remember it's in case of calibration, it's done automatically in here.
Okay.
So of course this data set also consists of additional uh, data sets for each of the buildings
Mm-hmm.
here. But in case of building just a new part, we decided to just focus on the terrain to get let's say focusing on terrain doesn't need require that many pictures of the rest of the buildings here.
Of the
So,
building. Yeah, yeah. So there
so
is
yeah,
a distortion on the 3D mesh on the buildings, but the focus of the main goal of the project was to have a very accurate terrain model. Um,
exactly.
as we will see in the construction in the concept to construction series, I can't say that name right. There is too many. So as we will see in the series, actually the terrain model was provided to the Open Buildings team and also the Plaxis team. Is that correct?
Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
In there's a lot of the analyze has to be made when we are deciding to create build a new building.
Mhm.
As a ground mechanics, also planning in case of roads and surroundings. Uh, so all of those branches has a coverage in our software, and
Mhm.
and this reality mesh is a starting point for all of them. That's of course step by step. So directly or indirectly, we have influence here from the data we have gathered and processed. So
Mhm.
so that is the starting point. In our case, it's a set of photos, as you see here,
Yeah.
taken with a drone, and also photos are consists of ground control points, which in this case gives us a really good accuracy and really good ending result
Mm.
on
I
on the
wonder why
report.
Mike didn't use the QR codes for the counterpoints, but just to share with you guys, and I think it's also covered on the video that we created for these projects, that you can print down some QR codes and then the counterpoints will be automatically identified in the pictures. Is that right, Swabik?
Exactly. This is our one of our way to automate the process.
Yeah.
Actually, you can um, print and generate as many as you want ground control points, which will be created as an April tag for aerial photogrammetry. Those can be read by a camera, by our software automatically, and to find also the middle point, the cross. So this is the great advantage in case of speeding up the process, because if we are then importing names correctly, the same number of point, and we have this number already on a picture, then we're gonna get some automatization of the process.
Yeah.
So here you can also take a look at the numbers. We have really good accuracy on XY coordinates here. So I would say it's actually 3 or 5 millimeters here, but of course we have to add also GPS accuracy. So this also what's important. This is also possible when we are importing ground control points coordinates. We can import them together with the column for horizontal and vertical accuracy, which is also included in the equation at the end in the accuracy analysis. So really nice feature in my opinion.
Okay. So, like a question, what size do you advise to print out the April tags, the QR codes for the drone capture?
Yes. I'm gonna show you that's the.
I think there's I've seen kind of like a document explaining this, no?
Yes, exactly. So when you are hitting to the tools, you're gonna get some hints, kind of general, let's say, rules you have to meet. In case of aerial photogrammetry, there is, I would say, suggest to use April tags, because their size of the picture taken by your camera has to be at least 35 pixels. So you have to adjust resolution, just calculate the altitude of a drone and compare it with the resolution of your camera. So everything depends, but it's also possible to be calculated to get a proper.
So it's basically if it needs to be
results.
35 pixels, depending on the flying height and the resolution of your camera. So basically, yes, you check how the pixel size in your camera, and then depending on the flying height, you have that pixel size on the ground, ground sample distance, we call it, and then it needs to be 35 pixels visible.
At least.
Okay,
at least, because then April tags are much more simplified in case of the numbers of squares on the code, so they are much, let's say, generalized, not like the QR codes, which in case of QR code we need at least 150 pixels. This is a huge difference. So those are meant rather for let's say oblique imagery, for taking some close range photos of the objects, like maybe for the archaeology, maybe for some documentation of the objects. Yes, but in case of aerial, we have April tags. They will just carry a number. So there's also difference in how many information they can store, because in case of QR code, we are able to gather much more information inside. If you are, you can even get a code, predefined coordinates inside this QR code.
Okay.
They will be just coded in those squares in the image, and they can be automatically brought into the system. But this is a QR code. So when you can use it, for example, you have a table on your laboratory with the QR codes on the corners, and you you're mostly taking pictures, for example, of the ancient items from the excavation, archaeology excavation. So you put them on a table, you go around with the camera, and they will automatically find out the, for example, in local coordinate system, XYZ. So they will
Yeah.
be scaled automatically. So really, really fast, but of course, in some cases.
Yeah. So what's the difference between the QR code and the April tags? Is that it? Is that the coordinates?
Uh, in here, you can put much more information. In case of April tag, you can put only a number. So
Okay.
the code will be also a number.
Yeah.
But then if you're gonna import a numbers correctly, the same file list with numbers and the correct coordinates, they're gonna fit to each other.
Oh,
So they
okay.
will be already found. Yeah.
So it's just one step. So basically, the April tags have one step more after the processing. So during the processing, that you will have
Mhm.
to match the numbers with the coordinates. With the
Yeah.
QR codes, you can import the coordinates before generating the code. Okay.
For
Yeah.
example, yeah, because normally you would have to just go around and pick those points, which in
Mhm.
case of context capture is really fast. It's after finding 2 points, you're gonna, by clicking on the next ground control point, you're gonna be carried. Let's see, for example, this yellow sign here means that we didn't took this point, but if you're gonna click here, I just came out just on the
Yeah.
corner, so it's only about to fit a few millimeters left, right, and it will be done correctly. So really
Okay.
fast
Cool.
process, but still manual. There is a way to automatize it, to make it more automatical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I even will mention about quality metrics, because
Yes.
we've done this, and we would like, for example, we are still on site, so we spent 40 minutes maybe. Laptop is processing. We took a lunch. We sit in the car, but we would like to see. Okay, can we go back to the office, or we should maybe take some more data? So we can actually turn it on. And for example,
This is
here,
course, for drone for drone projects is very useful for to do on the field. So just to make sure that you have the right overlap and the right data before you go
exactly,
back.
just coverage, for example. I see on the preview that it's not showing probably, but okay. So you see only that I'm starting. But for example, control point distribution. In my opinion, this one is really interesting, because then you can just see in which part of the production you don't have that many points. So
Hmm.
maybe then it's a good idea, especially if you are interested more in some part, to gather
Yeah.
some more data. I mean, to add some point to this place. Um, you know,
The, the overlap is also interesting for me. I think that's a really good one, especially for missions where the elevated objects are also of interest.
yes, exactly. In this case, this is a height, so you can take some first analyze of the height. Maybe you
Mhm.
can recognize some errors already, because if that was a flat terrain, and you saw that, okay, something here is, you're getting some deformation, it's going to be shown here. So this is also a way to make some short simple analyze. Also resolution, this is also connected mostly to the elevation of the object. The closer to the drone, the better resolution, of course. And yeah, so a lot of possibilities, as we said. Coverage also really important to know which part of the project will be covered properly. So
Yeah.
really, this one is really good, because we can just by visual analyze, let's say, evaluate the process.
Yeah. So if the that building, which I believe is the main building of the campus, will be of interest for this project, the drone operators will go back and get some more pictures of that building. That is the
For
process
example,
that yeah.
yes, in our case, as far as I know, we decided to use this field here because it was empty.
Mhm.
So let's say that we came back to gather information about the newly built site, and then we should definitely cover this area much more dense, because right now it would be not enough.
So that, sorry, because
Yes,
I didn't explain that. So for the concept to construction webinar series, we basically build a new building next to the Exxon office in Pennsylvania.
yes,
So that piece of land is where the new building is being placed. Um,
exactly. Mhm.
yeah. So yeah.
So yeah, we just had we had the discussion maybe to put it on the parking lot,
Yeah.
because it was also kind of part kind of flat surface,
Hmm.
to put it also here or here or maybe
Yeah.
here. We decided to maybe that's the best fit. Of course, in this case we have just a part of the terrain. The production is much bigger,
Yeah.
so I created much different. Let's see. Okay, that's the one. Okay, here we can see much more geometry here. So we have also roads around, so we can decide
Yeah.
how to place it correctly. For example, perpendicular to this road.
So once you created the 3D mesh, tell me more about what you did for, the open buildings. How did you what data did you share with the other colleagues for their other
Mhm.
application? Open
Mm,
buildings, and was it?
this part was really easy because since we are working in Bentley software, we have our native formats.
Okay.
So let's say that there would be more hassle if we are working with some external software. Of course, it will be still possible, but we have to take some more steps. But in this case, we are taking 3mx file. This is our native format. It's a ContextCapture 3mx. Really optimized and really great in case of let's say quality format. So even with some simple fly through on over the area, you can get a really good mesh. And this
Mhm.
mesh will be operated as is in our software. So it will
Mhm.
not lost any single pixel of the resolution, and this is important. So we
Okay.
are still operating here. Architect can take this and create a really great visualization by use of this mesh. So there will be also part for that for laminar T. So in this case, there was more rather discussion of which units we have to use, because basically first the production has been made in imperial units. I had to change it to the metric one, so just I created the new one, production, and also after all we decided to just change the zero origin,
Mhm.
because this context capture also gives us a possibility to shift 0 point of the project to some vector. So we'll still have small local coordinates, but actually they will be still placed in the in the correct place in the global position. So when we
What was the impact of changing that setting? I didn't get that.
of the zero coordinate, yes. So basically that's to use the reason to use those local coordinates, let's say
Mm.
the small coordinates, is that
Yeah.
some especially let's say BIM software, some CAD software has a issue to process on huge coordinates numbers, which has 7, 8, 9 digits. That's a lot.
Yeah.
So by shifting everything for a vector, like 2
Mm.
millions, 1 million, 2 millions north, 1 million east, for example, we are just lowering those digits to like
Yeah.
3
Easier.
digit number,
Yeah. Yeah. And I guess it's
and then
easier.
it's much easier. Yeah,
Did
especially
you
that the projects are done in local coordinates mostly. So
did you have to process the project again, or was it something that you were able to change?
basically, you can create new production here, which will take much less time than only the first production is taking a long time. That's comparing to the rest. So
Mm-hmm.
if, for example, let's say that's the first production done, that's 21 hours for this
Mm-hmm.
because of the number of the gigapixels here. But
Yeah.
if you are talking about another, it's rather 2 hours That was the first one, 18 hours, because it was in metric system, so I had to just create it once again. But here, 33 minutes, so 43 minutes, sorry, and once again the same time. So much less time, just to click and wait for the production.
Okay. Okay. And what else? How else did you use the 3D mesh? So you basically changed the coordinates, and you also exported the 3MX so that it was the colleagues from open buildings and Plaxis were able to use it. I also think that you did some geo planning on ContextCapture editor, didn't you?
Yes, exactly. I wonder if, in case of ContextCapture editor, we have tools for ground extraction. So I just simply, what is just doing is extracting a single z values and converting the mesh to the form where you won't find two elevation points above the same xy coordinate. So you have, so there is no chance for example, tunnel, some bridge. Of course, it will be, but also there will be no noise. You will just get a ground level, ground terrain model, and it will be much more simplified. Then you can create, for example, contour map out of that, just automatically creating contours with the, with, let's say, interval of the major contours, with the labeling, automatic labeling, also with the smoothing factor. So you are creating this automatically, and that could be working as a, a standalone map already at some point. Of course, after uh, let's say some touch up on the, on the aesthetics of the documentation, of course.
Okay.
And of course on the standards, because each country has its own standards in case of the maps, some instructions, and yep, that's possible also. In my case, I also did some 3D model of the roof, which we're gonna present quickly on our webinar. For now, let's just say that it's a small teaser that it took me 30 minutes to create full 3D model of that roof here, which was just perfectly aligned with the surface. So I hope that it will be more interesting for for the attendees to attendees to hear about it.
Yeah, I think we should make a teaser of that feature. It's quite cool actually. I think we should share it next week maybe.
Yes, that is an idea.
Okay, cool. Then we'll be showing how to extract the terrain model. We'll be showing how to do the roof, the design roof of the building.
Yes.
Anything else that we can share?
We're gonna show also how to modify this terrain with the brake lines, to add more details. We're gonna talk a little bit about the virtuoso keys. I think, yeah, that's that's the part. I would say that's the most fun part, because this is time that customer can spend with me. So isn't it fun to just get know whatever he will need about the point cloud, about 3D mesh modeling, whatever he will just need.
So the virtuosity keys are just for those who are not familiar with the virtuosity keys. It's the expert services that come with the license and the subscription. So all subscriptions come with the package of virtual keys, and then you can exchange those virtual keys for training and support and consultancy services, which means that you get to spend time with Slawik. But we will be explaining.
Exactly.
In the webinar. So before we finish, I just want to show the webinar series actually. So the webinar series that we are doing is kicking off next week. So next Thursday we will be presenting the introduction to the project. Concepts to construction. So we'll be showing kind of like a little bit of each of the steps that the user success team in Virtuosity went through, from the modeling of the existing asset infrastructure to the design and even animation, planning, everything. Which is the last one is with Synchro. So we'll be doing one webinar a week. Sorry, 2 webinars a week. Is it Tuesdays and Thursdays,
Yes.
I think?
Yes, it looks like a lot. That's a lot.
Yeah, that is a lot. But like, I think it's very interesting because we will be showing each of the steps with the same from the same story. So it's just how to build, how that new building was designed, was planned, designed, and came to life actually. So I will share the link to the webinar page, and then you can register to one or multiple ones. And that's I think that's.
Yes. So you can spend March under the virtuosity sign.
Well, we have them on demand, so they can also watch at their convenience. But ContextCapture 1 is going to be very interesting. We'll be showing a bit more of ContextCapture Editor. I think that we were focusing a lot in ContextCapture last year, but this year we want to talk a lot about ContextCapture Editor because it's a very powerful tool.
Exactly. This is my favorite. So yeah, this is my favorite child.
And we'll be next week anyways with Curse, and stay in touch, follow our reality modeling community, and see you very, very soon.
Yes,
so thank
exactly.
you so much. Thank you all for attending.
Thank you very much then, and
Thank
see you
you.
soon.
See you soon. Bye.
Yes, bye bye.